Today is a huge day, guys, in the cryptocurrency space and the world. We got the Fed talking today. Sorry, that's my little girl in the background. She just wants my attention. But this meeting is very important. Also, the Fed meeting is really, really important. We can see all the markets around the world slow down. The US 30 slow down hugely. Paul Tudor Jones had an interview on CNBC. We're going to go over that. Whatever the Fed says today is going to make Bitcoin push above that support zone, or is going to push back down. As you can see, the price of Bitcoin has fallen because the people trying to see what the Fed says. So if the Fed acts like nothing is happening, inflation is not there, guys, commodities is going to go up, cryptocurrency is going to go up, gold is going to go up, and the stock market is probably going to go up higher. Hey little lady, hey little lady, hey little lady, hey, 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 hey. Big day. What is up, YouTube Nation? It's your boy Revere. Welcome to the show. Today is one of the most important days for Bitcoin. Yes, for Bitcoin. We're waiting for the Fed to make an announcement to see if they're going to raise rates or they're going to keep everything as it is of today. So let's get into the Bitcoin charts really quick. And we see that we have hit a resistance up here. This is because we're waiting for the Fed. Now we had a huge pump out of a descending triangle. We had a huge pump out of there. So this is a pretty big breakout from here to here. Pretty big breakout to back to retest this $42,000. Now, a lot of people are saying the reason we broke out is because Elon Musk came out with this tweet saying when there's confirmation of reasonable 50% clean energy usage by miners with positive future trends, Tesla will resume allowing Bitcoin transactions. But no. I don't think the reasoning around the Bitcoin price pump is from that. It's pretty much from this Bitcoin upgrade that's going to happen from Taproot. It says the upgrade will mean greater transaction privacy and efficiencies, and critically, it will unlock the potential for smart contracts, a key feature of its blockchain technology. That is the key. If Bitcoin can have faster transactions, less transaction fees, and smart contracts, that is a game changer. Now, there are second layers that have Bitcoin smart contracts, but for this to happen upon the blockchain, maybe it was going to happen on a second layer. I don't have too much information on that, but to have more smart contracts and to be more efficient on Bitcoin, that can actually kill Ethereum. And this is how important the Feds are to the market, guys. Let's go to the US 30. Since the Fed is coming out to talk today, you can see the US 30 has been pushing down until the Fed news come out. Let's look at the Euro USD trading. This is what I trade pretty much every day on Forex. And look, we have been hitting the support line, waiting for the Fed to say anything. Critical layer. So we had a critical layer on Euro USD, critical layer on the US 30 as it's going down. And look at this right here, guys, really quick. The US dollar index. It is bouncing. This is bouncing. So everything is upon the Fed right now. And if this bounces up, the dollar index, the dollar gets stronger, Bitcoin will fall, the US 30 will continue to fall, and the Euro USD will fall. I mean, the US dollar will rise. Okay, guys? So let's get over here to Paul, the man with all the money, and let's listen to what he had to say about Bitcoin. Very, very important.
Like Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is math, and math has been around for thousands of years, and 2 plus 2 is going to equal 4, and it will for the next 2,000 years. So I like the idea of investing in something that's reliable, consistent, honest, and 100% certain. So Bitcoin has appealed to me because it's a way for me to invest in certainty, where, again, I look at the difference between the Fed of 2013, the Fed of 2021. I'm going, how can this Do I want to have faith necessarily? I look at the difference between Trump and Biden. Do I want to have faith in that same reliability and consistency of human nature and the linear nature of human nature, which we know is anything but that?
You like Bitcoin at these prices?
Listen,
You got in at about 10,000?
I like Bitcoin as a portfolio diversifier. Everyone always asks me, what should I do with my portfolio? My employees say, I say, okay, listen, the only thing that I know for certain is I want to have 5% in gold, 5% in Bitcoin, 5% in cash, 5% in commodities at this point in time. I don't know what I want to do with the other 80%. I want to wait and see what the Fed's going to do, because what they do will have a big impact.
What are you supposed to do in this environment?
Well, I'm going to watch the Fed on Wednesday. If they treat these numbers, which were material events, they're very material. If they treat them with nonchalance, then I think it's just a green light to bet heavily on every inflation trade. The idea that inflation is transitory, to me, is that one just doesn't work the way I see the world. So I look at $88 trillion of assets under management by asset managers. Of that, $670 billion are invested in commodity indices like Bloomberg Commodity Index, Goldman Sachs Commodity Index. That's about 0.75%. If I rewind just to 2011, when inflation was peaking at 3%, not CPI at 4.9, those same investors had 1.2% of their assets, which would imply today, if they just got back to weight, another $400 billion of buying in commodity indices. And if you, certainly the impact models that we run would argue that GSER or BCOM would double or triple. So you've got, if I just look at where asset managers are, 60-40 types, the one thing that they should be invested in, they're not invested in, probably because they're hearing these assurances that inflation's transitory. So you've got this massive short, really, in the commodity complex, a massive short there. So that makes me think that, and I look at the balances in a variety of commodities, and they're all so razor thin. They're all so razor thin. And this is just what happens if institutional money would get to where they should be, given the level of real rates. What happens if the Reddit crowd ever gets into commodities? God forbid if the bullies, the financial markets, ever were to take it on, for instance, like retail did back in the 70s.
Explain what you mean by that.
What I mean is that commodities are finite supply, small markets, generally speaking. And if we ever get an inflationary psychology, like, for instance, we did when I was in my 20s, back in the 70s, if we ever get that again, and if you ever got retail actually nervous about inflation, then the one thing that leads inflation, which is commodity prices, it's the easiest tautology there is. Those things can literally scream double or triple with no problem whatsoever.
So you're worried about the Reddit crowd getting involved in commodities right now.
No, I'm saying that right now, I would be a lot. Look, I think I'm the most conservative investor in the world. That's a hedge fund manager by definition. Hates risk, loves edges, loves competitive edges, does great reward risk trades. I would be really concerned about arguing that inflation's transitory when I know that you've got, look, think about it. We have a just-in-time mentality. We have inventories at record low. We have demand screaming, and we have people who are really underinvested where they should be, given the valuations of a variety of financial assets.
You said if the Fed doesn't make any moves this week, that it's going to be a green light.
Well, for me, it would be a green light.
But the question is, so it may be a green light temporarily, but you're also suggesting that there's going to be a hard stop at some point, that it's going to create an even bigger problem. And so how does a long-term investor think about that?
Listen, I have maintained, I'm so happy I don't have to run a pension fund. I don't know how you'd invest those assets when valuations for both interest rates and stocks are at, if you combine the two, they're so overvalued. They're at 100-year highs. I don't know what you do. I know one thing I'd want to do is the one thing that can hurt that is inflation. I'd have as many inflation hedges on as I possibly could. I sit on, the investment committee of these not-for-profits, and it's really difficult to try to explain to some of the board members of our not-for-profits, gee, maybe now's not the best time to be invested in a variety of finance. Maybe we should own commodities at this stage of the game. Right. Can I just say one last thing? The December 2018 meeting, if you think about that meeting that the Fed had with pretty much the same board makeup, they had a lot of incoming data between that meeting and the one prior to that. Stock market was down 12%. GSCI was down. Commodities were down 20%. The credit markets were frozen. But they went on and hiked because they were locked in to this linear belief that I can have a forecast and that we should stay with it. That predictability was more important than reactivity. So I think they had the same, and 7 months later, they had to reverse course and take that back. I think we're confronted with exactly the same situation right now.
So this was the message for Paul Tudor Jones. You can see his background really quick right here. Very, very smart guy. So if the Fed is all right with letting inflation continue to rise, commodities are going to go up higher. So like wood, we got oil, we got corn, different vegetables. All those prices are going up because of inflation and higher demand and low output of those products. Also, guys, Bitcoin and gold are inflationary combatants of the fiat in the system. So those prices will probably go up again. So this is why today is a huge day for Bitcoin. Now, what happens if the Fed says we're going to hike up those rates? Look for a huge storm to happen. So you're getting great news right now, and I think around 12 o'clock Central Time is when the Fed is going to speak. So all you guys have a good day, and all you guys have a good night, and enjoy the crypto life. Peace.